Hello, everybody. Welcome to the QWERTYcast. And today we have a very special episode 30, the Special K edition.
It's us.
Today I'm your special host, Cam, and with my special other host.
I want to be straight on with my camera too. That you can only see on Patreon.
Kenny.
Hi. I'm Special Toast.
Special Toast. Oh my god. Well, so, you know, as we do our 30 special.
Is that what this is? Is that the reason for this?
The Special K Dirty 30. You know, I just turned 22, as everyone knows. So we're gonna do just me and you know, the OG crew. Hashtag Play Don't Sleep. Don't look it up.
Across the hall.
Across the even more back.
But that one's great. Like, the only thing we have on Across the Hall is the Minecraft trailer, which is still fire, honestly.
Oh god, Heaven Shard.
Minus the voice acting, but we don't.
You know what I really loved about Heaven Shard is the story, and how much time we wrote. It was just all thrown away. I was just trying to give you some credit, but it was all thrown away for nothing.
Yeah. Well, you know, one YouTuber played it a little bit, and then they never posted anything again on their channel. Hey,
that means we're YouTube.
Yeah, that was actually a great story. What was the story of that? That was you spawn in this post-apocalyptic kind of world, and you meet Jim.
Oh,
and
you want to know the story of Heaven Shard? Here we go. Gary, I'd like to thank Gary too for being here. He's gonna listen to this story. I'm sure he's heard it maybe once. Basically, you wake up in this shard in the sky, and you met Bob,
Jim.
Jim.
Yeah,
thank you.
Jim.
Who we designate as blue lapis blocks and a pumpkin head. But he was trapped in a suit because that's the only way he can survive. And you have to go around to these temples and defeat them basically to unlock the power that, thanks to the genius Minecraft redstone work of Kenny, we made a lock system, like a key code that you just got a code from each of the temples. And the whole story is a background to everything. So I remember I wrote this guy named Oscar. He's like the catalyst of the whole event. He started the story by his wife dying, tragedy happens, hits him hard, and he starts seeing these visions, which you later learned is the Enderman. And they're staring, looking at him, telling him to do these things, and he's thinking about oh, this is cool. Okay, what's going on? And they present him a way to bring his wife back. So he does all this stuff that the Endermen are telling him to do, and he doesn't know that it's all bad until ultimately you get down to the water temple where the whole thing actually happened, and you see the aftermath of his experiment where everything exploded. The water temple just flooded and destroyed and killed everyone, monsters everywhere, and even then it unleashed the Endermen and all the ghosts in the world. I remember, Kenny, that we'd have command blocks underground and we use villagers to activate a villager spawner because it would work once someone walked by it to activate these ghost traps that would send messages to a random player.
Yeah, I loved that. And know what I loved? This was in a later map, but I was really happy that this worked, was the Iron Golem spawning.
Oh, for radio, right?
Yeah. I want to finish that.
Someday.
But why are we talking about stories so much, Cam? Why did we go on that whole Minecraft tangent?
Well, because I put a lot of time into that story. That's why. But also because that's actually our topic today.
Yeah.
So,
stories.
So stories in gaming and in general and everything, and how they influence the world and our fandom.
Yeah.
And, I proposed this question a little bit ago, and I remember a lot of people. They look at stories, and sometimes it doesn't even matter. Sometimes it's the gameplay that all that matters.
That's true. I've seen it so. If you want to talk about a story that I feel like a lot of people kind of did that with, Outer Wilds. It's really easy. I mean, you just played it, right?
I played an hour or 2 hours of it, basically.
So let me ask you this: did you? I mean, I think you're the kind of person that will take the time to read a story. But there's definitely a lot to there's definitely a lot to like dive in with when it comes to Outer Wilds. There's like a lot of text, a lot of reading, but it all kind of is worth it and leads up to a really satisfying conclusion and a satisfying finale once you understand everything. But I know a lot of people just want to be like, oh, I'm flying through space and that's cool and that's all I kind of want to do. And it's like, oh, story, skip. And you gotta respect the story.
I'd like to ask Kenny, what's like one of your favorite stories in any medium?
In any medium?
Yeah.
I really like Brave New World. That's
Brave New World.
Yeah, it's a book, and now a series on Peacock. Not sponsored by Peacock, but if we could be. So, Brave New World is a book about a utopian society in which the main premise is like everyone is their roles are kind of chosen for them before they're born. And it's all like DNA based, and they alter DNA. So like you can be like, I think it's like an epsilon class, which is like the working class, or you can be like an alpha class and be like one of the really smart, good-looking people.
Oh my god! Did that one teenage story series book rip it off? I believe it. Never mind.
Wait, what?
It's that one book. I think Divergent. That's what that series. All of them are like different classes, and they're like, we're the poor class. That's pretty much their class. They're poor. And then there's the the badass adventures and the smart people.
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah. It's a lot of like that kind of thing, and it does a really interesting dive into like what I guess what modern relationships are, and like what finding love means in a world like that, where relationships are just for sex, because you don't really need to reproduce or be with someone forever. It's just for pleasure. And they have like this whole other like outside plot that's kind of happening with I think they call them like savages, but they're literally just people that are still living like you and me, not in this utopian society, that chose not to be part of this whole DNA and still are born normally, like through intercourse, and have mothers and fathers. But like these people that are in the utopian society don't have mothers and fathers. It's like a foreign concept to them, and it gets really crazy, and it kind of makes you question like
I think you really like the world building,
all the things
that is in all the stories.
Yeah,
because you really liked Dead Space.
Dead Space,
Amnesia, Brave New World.
Amnesia's story was very meh. I actually enjoyed the gameplay more on Amnesia. I couldn't tell you what Amnesia was about. Someone forgot his memory,
but you're in the world.
And then
that's
he got
all
it back.
I'm getting.
Yeah, well, that's immersion.
Immersion. I'll have to say my favorite story I told you guys was Cain and Abel, because it's just like it's in everything. It's almost like that one music. It's in everything. Oh god, I forget it. Oh, I need you, Gary.
The emo music.
Yeah, it's like the 4 chords basically. It's in everything.
Yeah.
So like look at Cain and Abel. It's like 18 lines. Yeah. That's it. It's nothing. Everyone like makes it out to this big ass thing in the Genesis, but it's literally just about 2 brothers, and one is offering lamb and sheep, and God likes that more than the guy who's offering plants. Per usual, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he gets jealous and kills him, and then God's like, "Hey, where's your bro, man? What'd you do? Get out of here." That's it. That's like the story. That's it.
All right, get it.
Most of these like Old Testament stories are like nothing, but the thing is, what came from that was this whole ethos and just way of explaining things, and just the influence that it had throughout the centuries in storytelling. Like you want to look at like Hamlet. Hamlet is another Cain and Abel story. Anything where there's 2 like just entities, 2 brothers related in some kind of way. Lion King, Cain and Abel. That's a brilliant one. That's also kind of like a almost like a rebirth or a voyage and return kind of thing. All these things just kind of like influence the world and have continued to influence the world and how we tell stories. And that's kind of like what I always like is like the influence on the world from a story. And so I don't know if you remember this, Kenny, but like one of my I watched this a while ago. I don't know if you did. It was when Twitch plays Pokemon.
Oh, of
Do you
course.
remember that?
Oh yeah. Dude, I had that like on like as much as I could, and I think I probably was that when we were in college.
Yeah,
because I think I just watched that like during class when I could.
Yeah, it was in college, and just like we were watching this thing and watching these people like just struggle through everything. I'm pulling up some fan art right here for all of our guys to see, but this stuff is like some of my favorite. Or like you like see the Red is just struggling with all these commands going through his head, almost like he's schizophrenic.
Yeah.
And that's just like the fandom that came from just Twitch playing Pokemon Red. And that's it. And if you don't know, this was like a thing that happened a long time ago, and it was like crazy.
So cool.
Where they made a program so you can type up, down, left, right, A, B, and all that, and then it would input it into the game, and the character would move. So you have like
you would
thousands
type this
of
on
people
Twitch chat, and
on Twitch chat, and you have thousands of people saying this, and it led to like these crazy things going on, and like I can't find it here, but you got that Helix Pokemon.
The Helix. Yeah,
he was the Anarchy. I don't want to say my dude.
Just if you Google, I think if you just Google like Twitch plays Pokemon lore or something, I think you'll find some cool pics.
You had the Pidgeot that was accidentally released.
Oh yeah, the Bird Jesus.
Bird Jesus, that's what it was. It's just all these fandoms that I absolutely loved. And that's just like the influence of the gameplay itself, you know.
It's crazy. I've been listening to a lot of. I've been listening to a mythology podcast recently.
Yeah.
And those stories are so fucking interesting. Like, I listened to. What's a good one? Oh, I listened to Hercules versus Theseus, where like Theseus was tricked into thinking Hercules was a bad guy, basically, and like he was in a chair of forgetfulness, and he was like, "Oh yeah, Hercules, you like killed your family," and Hercules is like, "Yeah, but the gods were controlling me when that happened," and it's like this whole thing, like these characters are so flawed, and it makes you want to like root for them more. And I think that's like a really important part. Like having characters that are flawed is so important to having a good story. You can see that in Dead Space. You can see it in Hades. Going back to the mythology thing, you see it in a whole bunch of games if you look.
I was actually say like in Hades, they bring a lot of mythology into that game.
I think mythology.
I think that's kind of what makes the game good. They even like, I don't know if you know what this was, but I recognized the three ways of love that they show, and they show it in the game itself. You can Eros stands for sexual and romantic love, which is obviously the boy Reaper. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, it's not her. It's the Harpy lady. If you don't know this, I'm terrible at names.
Great,
but just that like friendship love is the Medusa's head, Dusa, I think. And then you got just kind of like that like true like, I guess like how you love your partner kind of thing, not sexual, just like the need to be there with, and that is him and the Reaper.
Love.
Yeah, but like just bringing all these kind of things. There's like so much you can get into. I like to think like what kind of games do like that really pulls you, Kenny? I know like we all talk about world building, but it's not really like an actual story in a sense. That's just like a creative way of making a story around a character. Yeah,
a lot of first person shooters do just the world building kind of storytelling, but that doesn't always do. Yeah, I mean, like you said, it doesn't always do a ton. That's only one part of it. But sometimes, like, I mean, you can kind of look at it from any angle, because in that sense, you're still just, your character is still just the audience, and the main character is the world that's happening around you.
Yeah.
You know, like I think I'm thinking of Call of Duty 4, for example, the one where we like. I think to me that's like a game that changed gaming, because they set off a fucking nuke in the game, and everyone was like, "Holy fuck!" Like I didn't know you could just
killed off the character.
Yeah, you could just kill off the main character, and you're like, "Whoa!" And then like as an audience, you get to hop into another person's body, and then play out, you know, trying to get that redemption or whatever, and still like. You have like a purpose. It gives you that purpose, being like, oh fuck, they nuked us, let's get him back, you know?
You can say like that nuke was the tragedy of that character.
Yeah. I know if Andres were here, he'd probably bring up Undertale.
And Binding of Isaac too.
Oh yeah. Oh
all of it. So Undertale is a lot more upfront with its story, kind of. It's like about a kid trying to get out of the underground. If you want to like boil it down simply to what it is, it's just that, and his journey along the way to get out, and how you play it obviously changes everything. Which I think why I like video game stories can be more memorable, because you're involved in it more actively. That being said, like, you know, Cain and Abel is a story from the Bible, so I read that one.
You know, it's a good.
I read that a while ago.
Know what makes a good story, especially in gaming? Something that makes you feel, you know, like what's the last game that you like felt something in, whether you were just like overjoyed, or like full of sorrow for whatever happened, or just like pissed like at like some other character for doing shit. Going back to the Call of Duty example, I remember they like killed Ghost. They like fucking shot him and then like poured gasoline on him and lit him on fire, and I was like, motherfucker. And I was like, this fucking guy. I'm like,
that was like towards the end of the game, wasn't it?
I don't remember. It's been so long since I played that.
Forever. It's been forever.
Yeah.
I'll be
Left
honest,
4 Dead.
Left 4 Dead. Oh, Bill.
Yeah, exactly. You knew immediately what I was talking about. That's how you know.
That's
and
how
like that story isn't even like, it's not a super like you have to follow all the pieces kind of story, but like when you have all the pieces and when you put them together, it kind of becomes kind of interesting. I mean, it's a really basic.
That's the thing. Like all these games take a simple story, like just in general, and then just move you through the world, because that's how they build the world, is you playing the game. They can't just like keep telling you what's going on, because that's then we get Avatar, The Last Airbender movie kind of going on.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Yeah, we have like 30 minutes of exposition going on. And no one likes that movie.
No.
Nobody.
No.
I really hope not. I'm sorry if you do.
I'm not sorry. No one likes it.
Okay. But yeah, like you have these like journeys going on. So I like to think of like a basic story is FTL, right?
Sure.
You're the Federation of the Rebels.
You're the Federation.
You're trying to get to the ship to tell them that the rebel mothership is coming to kill you guys, right?
Yeah,
that's all you're trying to do.
Yeah.
In reality. And then you're also supposed to try to kill them. So where is this Federation army that's going on? Where is it? I guess the Navy in this case. They're in the Space Force.
Space Navy. Space Force.
But what really fleshed that out was the world itself.
Yeah.
And all the different choices we can make. Call out to the last couple of episodes. And then all the decisions and like all the things that happens to your crewmate, which you don't even have to care about them, to be honest. You don't know their names. You just don't want them to die.
Right. Yeah, you can those games are fun too, because you can kind of make up your own story for it. That being said, I actually did look up more information about FTL recently, because I was looking it up for another thing, and apparently the story is the rebels are all like a race of humans that essentially think an alliance with aliens are gonna taint humans from becoming the greatest form that they can be.
They're xenophobe.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's why you as the Federation are trying to get back to stop these guys from, getting a powerful army.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they have a really big ship.
They have a big ship.
Yeah, that does a lot.
But it's interesting. That being said, when you pay attention to that game, all of the rebel ships only have humans on them.
Oh. See, I wouldn't catch this stuff.
Right?
Yeah. Like, I wouldn't catch a lot of things in any roguelike that uses cryptic storytelling.
Oh, man. Cryptic storytelling. I'm trying to think of another one that's got something like that.
You can play, like I said, almost any roguelike does this. Hades is almost cryptic, except for it's voice acted. So it's actually, I think a lot more people like it because of that.
Mm-hmm.
Binding of Isaac, obviously. Enter the Gungeon. Tower of Guns. You got Nuclear Waste. You got all these are just like, what happened? Well, we're just a character in this world, surviving, trying to get to the top. But
Frostpunk's story is kind of interesting.
That's the city simulator, right?
It's like
Spoilers.
not really. It's like it's focused around like one city. So like you're a bunch of like refugees. You get to this point where like the weather's manageable, but the weather has been getting worse and worse, and basically it's been getting colder and colder, and the whole world's pretty much frozen over. And your goal is to make a survivable settlement there and, repopulate and keep people warm and provide food for them and all this stuff. And then go out and find more stragglers and, just build upon your place to make it as strong as it can be, while this in the background, there's like a real, like, I guess there's probably a technical term for it, but there's a day where that's going to be like super, super cold that like anyone outside of it is basically not going to survive. So you're prepping for that. And then when that comes, you just have to hold out.
Is it like this looming threat on the horizon you always know about?
Yeah. And that's the game. It's just always going to come. And so you just prep for that until then, and then you have to hold out while it's there. And if you can hold out, then you win. But it's crazy too, because like when I played through that, I at the beginning really tried to do my best to like have enough med bays just in case people started getting sick, and then having enough warmth to prevent people from getting sick. But like as it got colder and colder, it was like almost not possible to prevent that. And then politics started becoming a thing where people were like, oh, we want to choose this diplomacy or this policy and enact like, oh, we want to enact child labor laws so that children can work if they have to, so that we can get the things done that we have to. And that just becomes like moral decisions for the player to make, that like at the end of the day, you have to weigh it out whether like will this decision make a difference between my survival in this game versus people being happy, Yeah.
Well,
like by the end of it, I was like when
felt
that
bad.
Yeah, I felt horrible, but because like the cold front came and people were just like dying, and I was like it sucks that people are dying, but like if everyone else can just hold out a little bit longer, we can get through the worst of it and then move forward as a civilization later in life. And that's like,
I didn't know it had like an end game kind of thing going on with it.
Yeah, spoilers. I probably should have said spoilers. Hold on, let me say it again. When my voice doesn't crack. Spoilers.
No, we gotta use the spoilers.
Spoilers.
Okay, put the voice cracky spoilers at the beginning of that rant.
It's already
Gary.
there, Kenny.
Put it in there. Frostpunk though, great game.
Yeah. I think another a thing I really like when I do play for a game for the story is these big reveals in any kind of thing. So, I think Kenny, the first time we ever played Raft,
Oh, yeah.
we got to this point where we realized that there's more than just water everywhere. I mean, we knew that already, but it was going to happen. But the payoff of Raft's story itself was like, you go to this big island, and then you know there's like these journals left everywhere from people, and it's another one of like, you gotta like read the background to get what's going on in the actual world. And you get to this point where it's just like there's like another society, something bigger there, and you like just keep finding it, and you keep like following the shadows of people that were previous there. How do you like feel about those kind of stories? There's actually a ton of games that do it that way, and it's almost always survival.
Right.
It's like the only way it does it.
That going back to Heaven Shard, our Minecraft map, that was what we did.
Yeah.
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 So like, I mean, I like those kind of games. I like sitting through and, getting some of the lore, as long as it's not like, at some points I think it definitely can become overwhelming. A game that did it really well was going back to Left 4 Dead. All of their story was just graffiti on the walls of safe rooms. So you could read that, take a quick break from all the chaos of fighting zombies, read the walls. It's got a little humor thrown in, and then kind of find out what's happening. And I love that kind of storytelling mechanic because it was just immersive. It wasn't like click a book, read. It was
really made it immersive. Like, yeah, like the characters talking to each other, I think, is what really made that so
too.
good as well.
Yeah. Yeah, they were always telling you what's going on.
Left 4 Dead's like another game that like the community just like took it and just ran with that world. One game that always surprised me that people that have done this was Five Nights at Freddy's. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't know how much you know about Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh
lore.
Yeah. I've done a little research into it.
It's just like this very first game, Five Nights at Freddy's, is technically like, it's not a prequel, but the second game is a prequel. And people like started taking notes of like what was going on in the game. I think you get a check at the end of these Five Nights, and they noticed the date of the check, and that's how they realized the second game was a prequel. And they kept going, and they're like, these guys are taking kids and shoving them into these dolls and making them possessed. And then eventually like the opposite happened where like the guy is killed. And it's just like this huge lore that gets into all these games, and all these fans like make it happen. And it's almost better, but like I gotta give it to the guy. Like,
yeah,
the guy who made Five Nights at Freddy's, Scott. He first started with like just doing like kids Bible games, and then he took a whole. I'm not even kidding.
What a shift!
What a turn! He started making Five Nights at Freddy's, and it's just like one of the craziest games of all time.
Wow.
Maybe because of YouTube, but it was there.
A lot of horror games get their fame from YouTube, I think, for sure, because people love watching other people get scared.
Yeah, I like watching you get scared.
Yeah, I love getting scared. That was great.
So
I like getting scared when I control it. What?
Oh, I like to ask, like, do you think there's like very heavily driven story games out there, right? Do you think like that's enough to forgive gameplay? An example of this would be Kentucky Route Zero.
Oh, good question. So you've played more of this than I have, but I remember. I mean, like, this is a really simple game. This is basically a story game.
The gameplay is literally just click and then select dialogue, and that doesn't even like change the outcome too much, to be honest. Right.
It's just like a follow the story. Like, there's a lot of interesting games like that. What's the other one? I think it's like Edith's something. Oh, God, I forget what it's called. But there's another game where it's like you're just literally walking through, and it's just tells you the story as you walk through the game. So you kind of become, I don't know, a third party.
Like Gone Home is another example.
Yeah.
Do you think? Do you think that's like okay? To be honest, like Kentucky Route Zero, I played 4X at the 5. I need to play the 5th act eventually, and it was just like the reviews was like mostly positive right now is because
Yeah.
the fifth act just like failed to deliver on the only thing it was going for, which was its story.
Oh wow.
And because it had such bad, honestly, no gameplay, it just like fell apart in the end.
And yeah, it's just interesting art style and it's an interesting story. Oh. Cam, I just logged into Steam and you sent me Emily is Away.
You just logged in now.
Yeah. Why
Yeah,
did you
Emily's Away too, by the way.
Oh, is this 2?
It's a sequel.
Oh, is that Emily Hart? Is that what it is? Are you sure it's
Yeah.
not Emily is Away 3?
Nope.
Less than 3. Oh, less than 3 because it's 2. Wow.
It's 2008 and AIM is dead.
Okay, bet. Cam and I played this when we were speaking of stories. This is another one where it's literally just.
Yeah, I sent that gift to you like weeks ago.
I'm sorry, I did. I saw you.
This is not
you
a
sent
coincidence to this podcast, just so everyone knows.
You sent it literally on your birthday,
You're
and
welcome.
I just well, I've been working, man. I just haven't even logged into anything.
I'm proud of you. If you guys don't know, Emily is Away. It's so nostalgic. I think that's why.
Well, that one's this is such a simple game because it's literally just a text game, but you can choose your response, which this is a game that changes the outcome, but there's really not that much to the gameplay. I mean, if we're going to talk about this, like there's like a whole genre of like that kind of thing where it's just what are those like anime games that are like that?
What kind of anime games, Kenny?
What's that one that has that like crazy Doki Doki Literature Club?
Yeah, Doki Doki.
Yeah, that one. I mean, if we're gonna talk about a gameplay versus story, that one is like basically just story driven art style, and it's just choose the text.
Horror game.
Yeah, surprisingly, Doki Doki. If you haven't played that game and you just want to be a little bit shocked
Just
and
go play it.
confused, yeah, just go play it.
It won't spoil too much of that game. Oh,
God,
I'm not even gonna look it up. I don't want to see what it's gonna do.
Oh man, no, that game gets so crazy.
I guess that's fair. For me, like it really depends if it delivers.
Yeah, I think if it delivers, then I'd say it's worth it. But you know, story games aren't everyone's cup of tea. Like you said earlier, some people just like gameplay.
Yeah,
Is it cup of tea or is it cup of coffee?
I think it's tea, Kenny. Some Earl Grey.
Oh, here's another good example of kind of gameplay versus story. Little Inferno. Do you remember that one?
I never. Is that the block one? No, it's not. Okay, it's the same people though. Yeah.
Oh, really? It's the same people as who?
The block story. Where is it? World of Goo.
Oh, World of Goo. Yeah, World of Goo too. Yeah, these are like early indie games. And World of Goo is actually pretty interesting. I don't exactly remember what it was, but I remember being kind of interested about it.
It's kind of like a corporation's taking all the goo, and then
Right.
you play as the goo, and you
Yeah,
build.
like they have like it's like kind of a cutesy thing, but like the behind the scenes story that's happening, it's kind of dark. I remember. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
a little bit. And you like destroy. Look at ingenious, brilliant, made me more complete of a person. And you're just building this thing. Look at him go.
Dude, I might replay that game. That game was so fun. Little Inferno too. That's just so. World of Goo is just kind of like a puzzle game where you connect goo to make shapes to complete puzzles at its core. And Little Inferno, you sit in front of a fireplace and you burn stuff, and that's pretty much all the gameplay. And you get these messages from your neighbor and from the corporation that built the fireplace, and through those you slowly get an idea of what's happening in the background of this world, which it's pretty dark. It's another one where like it's super cold outside and people can't go outside, so they have to sit in front of their fireplace. So they made an interactive fireplace.
Oh my god. Kenny, you just made me think of like one of my favorite games that I ever watched you play.
Oh, Metro 2033.
Yeah.
Dude, that one was a fucking cool one.
If you guys don't know what Metro, it's basically apocalyptic shit happened, and the people in the train stations in Russia are the only ones to survive it. In Russia, at least.
Yeah.
And just like, it's actually a bunch of stories from book, and that's where they get, I guess, their story from.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it's probably so good, because like someone like built this world and really fleshed it out and made it like crazy, and then they put that into a game, and you're like sitting there,
And it's beautiful too.
it's beautiful and terrifying at the same time, because your gas mask breaks and like you're gonna die if you're outside for too much long.
Yeah.
Forgive me, but it just started raining, so you're probably gonna hear that.
Oh, word. I did hear that, and I thought it was from your stream here,
No.
but now I know better.
Yeah.
But like in that same vein, you could talk about like Skyrim or Fallout. You know, those have crazy stories that are happening in the background.
Yeah,
But,
those are all kind of like a rags to riches, I would almost say, but like it's always the journey or the quest you go on.
Yeah, and that's what it comes down to ultimately in most games. Like, it's the story is what you make of it as a player. You know, especially games that have choice. You know, you could choose to be a bad guy, or you can choose to be a good guy, or you can choose to be somewhere in between in a lot of these games, and that determines what your experience is going to be. Telltale Games does a phenomenal job of capturing that. Like the Walking Dead series or Wolf Among Us, if you haven't played them, I highly recommend it. But they're point and click with I think cell shading. Is that what that art style is called? Yeah.
That's why it still looks good.
Yeah, it looks super cool. And the story is those are stories that I've cried at, like, and got invested in and panicked at, because you sometimes have a time limit on your choices, or your choices greatly affect what happens in the game or the characters that you interact with, and this is a good example of good gameplay plus good mechanics, and where you as a player get to be that flawed character if you choose to be.
It is pouring right now. I just turned this mic as down as I could.
Oh boy.
I think Wolf Among Us works in all those Telltale games because of that choice, where it forces a decision on you to build that stress, to build that like, oh, I don't want this character to die, because it built that world so well. It developed certain characters at least well enough that you care about them.
Right.
Yeah. Is there any game that like was meant for the story and you just like didn't give a shit about eventually? So I'll be honest, like almost any Bethesda game, I don't really care about the story. I just play the game because I like it.
I feel like some battle royales have tried to kind of have a little side story or something that's happening, and I just do not give any shits about those.
Like, get out of here, kids.
Yeah, we're just trying to, which is unfortunate. Like if you're a game dev and you want people to be more immersed, you really have to choose you have to make that kind of game. You can't just put a story in.
Right.
And especially if it's multiplayer, where people have to, you know, be on their toes and reacting.
Well, like, I don't know. Some games they play off that, because you got Knights of the Old Republic online, which is essentially Knights of the Old Republic 3, and the whole universe is built around the story that's going on as that character, which I never played because I'm salty they never made a third one. By the way, but people have told me it's a good game.
How about Half-Life Alyx, Cam?
Oh my god, Half-Life Alyx is that's kind of different. I'll be honest. I think the whole I barely remember what was going on in the story because I was so enthralled with the gameplay itself.
Right.
If you ever
It's a balance.
it's I don't know. Some games it doesn't even matter how they just deliver it. Oh, good. It's gotten way quieter now. Outside, they just deliver this gameplay as so good. And in Half-Life Alyx, I would be I'd sit there. This is a VR game, if anyone's wondering, and I think if it was made without VR, it would be nothing special. I'll be honest. It was just so good in VR because I would pick up this head crab and it was huge. But you ever play Half-Life in any of those games? You don't think they're that big at all. It's this tiny little thing. The people who got controlled by the head crabs are crazy scary. And then eventually it got to the place where I had a flashlight and that's my only source of light. And I was terrified.
Yeah.
I didn't want to deal with this. I was I'm going to die.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was terrified. But I think that game, I think it only worked well because of its, how it delivered its gameplay. In my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I
but
think
God forbid, it's one of the best VR games I ever played.
Yeah, I think what we're learning from this is, you really have to find, if you're a developer, you really have to find the balance, or either choose, a path as far as gameplay versus story goes. Finding a balance, I think, is a lot harder, but some games pull it off.
Some games pull it off. I think, like I said, I keep saying about roguelites and roguelikes. Whenever we want to discuss that, they give you the option to explore the story. I think that's a great way to do it too. You don't have to.
I think another good way to pull off that balance is kind of keeping it open-ended, like Carrion, for example.
The monster.
You remember that one?
I never finished it. I started it though.
Yeah, no, it keeps it super open-ended. It doesn't give you any sort of text. It gives you the world. It gives you your character, and it shows a little bit about your monster maybe becoming human. And to kind of avoid spoilers. It shows a lab, and it shows other operatives coming in, and you're am I escaping? Or you at first glance you're definitely escaping. You're oh, I'm trying to get out of this, but ooh, what is this? What is this animation?
A trailer. It's an animated trailer for it. Wow.
There's an animated trailer on Steam if you're wondering what we're looking at. I did not know existed, which I wonder if it explains any more of the story. I don't think it does.
This is just a scientist terrified.
Gotcha. Yeah, Carrion is just very much just based off the thing, but you play the monster. And you're trying to escape from a facility, but it shows you flashbacks to being a human. So that's part of your journey of figuring out what that all means.
Oh, speaking of the thing, that open-endedness, I guess, really does help deliver the ending sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
If you watch the this movie was remade so many times.
What's the Katana Zero?
Katana Zero.
Or Hotline Miami.
What?
Dude, Hotline Miami.
Oh, Hotline Miami. You were Hotline Miami. I was huh?
Ass.
Katana Zero is, I think, a really good balance of gameplay and story.
I think, is it the same developers as Hotline Miami?
Are you the same developer as Hotline?
It's one word. Hotline.
I didn't mean to put a space. No one look at me. It's not.
Yeah, Devolver.
Well, it's a publisher.
Oh, same publisher. But yeah, Katana Zero and Hotline Miami, those are crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of like a cyberpunk kind of style game. Before Cyberpunk, the game came out in 2077.
I haven't played that one actually, but I hear the story's good in that.
I hear it's there.
Yeah, there's definitely a story in it.
It's
And
there. It
gameplay.
works. Yep. I hear you can
So-
play it.
Yeah. If you came here to listen to us talk about Cyberpunk, oh, you're gonna be disappointed. If you came here to listen to us explain games, you're also gonna be disappointed.
Yeah. What's going on, Katana Zero? Oh, you're a guy and you have a sword and you kill people. Okay.
Yep.
That's it. All right. Next one. What is Hotline Miami?
Hotline
Well,
Miami
you're
is
a guy and you
with
you kill people.
guns and a mask.
And you kill people. That's
And
pretty
you
much
kill-
it. Look at him
and kill
go.
people.
He is gunning down a bunch of people.
You know, actually, this is a good point because, like, man, there's definitely like a crazy story behind it. I think, but
There. Yeah.
I mostly just remember the gameplay.
Mostly just remember killing people. Like I said, it's like the reward of exploration.
Yeah,
When that's actually a good point. When these games can't, some people love to explore games, like I like exploring in Skyrim. I love exploring, but in these kind of games, you can't just like explore the environment. So you have to explore your storyline,
yeah,
and you have to really search for it sometimes.
yeah. Like, why am I killing all of these people? And they do explain that you're like doing jobs to do a thing to get out.
Yeah,
or
there's some
something.
reason.
There's definitely a reason.
It's
But-
there.
But does it matter?
Ultimately,
That's the question.
it doesn't matter.
So what did we take away from that, Cam?
My takeaway from all this was that RimWorld is one of the best games anyone should play.
Wow, okay.
Because
Did not see that takeaway coming.
because it delivers that drive to create your own story and has elements to surprise you and drive that story forward. In a
Huh.
progressing world that is just painful.
Are you telling me that this whole episode was just a lead up to tell people to play RimWorld?
QWERTYcast out.
God, imagine if we were sponsored. If you're listening to this and you're a developer and you want us to do this for your game just to lead up, we got it. We did it.
We got you guys. Don't
Yeah.
worry. All right, yeah. No, I think we can take away from what the Special K, us duo going out, is that it's always a balance, as we said earlier.
Yeah.
And sometimes it doesn't actually matter.
Sometimes you can make a great story, but people will just skip it. That's the tragedy of being a story developer for games.
It's true.
R.I.P. But we appreciate you. Cam and I do. We'll read it. So if you're a developer making a game that's got story-based stuff,
Oh
we
yeah.
got you.
I will install every mod I can to play a better version of your game
Oh, shit.
with more story involved.
And I will play it once and tell everyone about it until I forget about it and have to look it up through my Steam library. That's just what it is. Cam, anything else that we want to say about stories and games and indie games?
Not really. We went over kind of like a broad topic.
Yeah.
I'd say. We went over a bunch
We
of little
could-
things.
There's
We
so
can
much
always-
more we could say, honestly.
Yeah.
That's it. If you want to hear more, listeners, I'm talking to you now,
Oh, me?
or viewers if you're watching it on Patreon. If you want to hear more, we might talk about this on Twitch if we get enough demand for it, and just do it live. Fuck it.
Doing it live.
Anything else? I don't know. You're the host.
Oh, okay. Well, I'd like to thank everyone for listening.
Yeah.
Kenny, give me that line.
QWERTYcast out.
This episode is brought to you by our Patreon subscribers, our QWERTYcast hosts, our audio engineer / musical master, Gary, and you, our listeners. If you would like to join our community, find us through QWERTYcast.com, which has links to all our platforms, including Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, Discord, and even more. On behalf of everyone here at QWERTYcast, thanks for listening. This is Dave saying QWERTYcast out.